5-3 DF Memphis. It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Look up on the wall. There on the floor.
Welcome in on a busy Tuesday. Busy sports night last night. I was watching the Grizz in the Brooklyn Nets, and I was going back and forth. It was the NBA. There was the two conference championships going on. Furman, by the way, upsetting East Tennessee. That was entertaining for sure. And then I turned over at just the right time to watch Aaron Judge in the third inning of the World Baseball Classic. Aaron Judge go deep to give the U.S. a 2-0 lead. Then Schwarber came up. I love watching all these all-stars. Schwarber comes up, gets a base hit. Cal Raleigh gets hit. And then here comes Roman Anthony, a 3-run shot. It's 5-0 USA. And I thought, oh, my goodness, I'm going to go look at other games because there was all kinds of stuff going on. I mean, it was really busy. Mexico, Jaron Duran, he had 2 home runs. He kept them in it. The U.S. wins 5-3. They're 3-0 now in the World Baseball Classic. They're at the top of their group. They have made the knockout round. So that was a lot of fun. Landon Schmidt, are you paying attention at all to the World Baseball Classic? I do think this comes down to the USA and Japan in different groups. We've got the knockout round coming. Puerto Rico might have a say. They were winners last night over Cuba. I don't know if there's anybody else that might be involved in this.
If you heard the Mexico head coach, he would love nothing more than to face the USA in the finals in Miami. So
yeah, I heard him say that they would.
Yeah,
but and they might. I mean, they got a good team. Everybody,
they do have a good team.
Amazing. There's a lot of major leaguers from a lot of different places that end up playing in this deal. It's the best thing for spring training that's ever existed. Whoever came up with the World Baseball Classic, I truly love it. Yesterday, one of the big stories, Alex Simmons, after 3 years on the job, 3 years, 30 wins, 30-61. In other words, she barely really didn't win 1 out of every 3 games. She did not help herself. After her final game, which was a win, she said in her post-game press conference, Memphis is not a place people want to come to, but I do. Memphis is not a place people want to stay, but I do. But saying people don't want to come here, they don't want to stay here, doesn't really help your cause. Nor do I think was Alex a really media-friendly person. I know her pedigree. She did a good job at the place she had been at past Gardner-Webb. She has on her resume that she played for Pat Summitt, and that's a big plus. But when you were prepping for a game with her, it was almost impossible to get information. When we were doing the ESPN Plus games the last couple of years, we would always get a Zoom call with the opposing coach. We would pretty much never get a Zoom call with Alex Simmons. I don't know why. I don't know what she was hiding. But I don't think any of that helped her in the long run. 30 wins out of 91 games certainly isn't going to do it. Post-game press conference about how Memphis is not a place people want to come to or stay doesn't help you either, and Ed Scott said goodbye. So that's 4 coaches that have now going to be replaced since Ed Scott got here. We'll see what way he goes. I think it was Jonah Dillon, who will be a guest on Friday here, who has already put out 8 different candidates that could do the job. Katrina Merriweather, I thought, did such a good job for the Tigers. Fortunately, it has not translated when she went back home to Cincinnati, her alma mater, where she was a really good player. I'm shocked at it because she did all the right things here. Obviously, the Big 12 is a lot more difficult a place to win than in the American. But nonetheless, they went to the women's NIT her first year here. She had basically jump-started this program. It was in the depths. And after Melissa McFadden let it really slip, she brought it back, and then here comes Alex Simmons, and she just has done an awful job. Awful. And Ed Scott saw it and let her go. So we'll see who becomes the new Memphis coach. So it was a interesting night in the NBA. The Grizz lose 126-115 to the Nets. They got bullied inside again. No big shocker. I don't think they got anybody bigger than 6'9" and skinny that starts, and you're up against two big guys from the Brooklyn Nets. But here's the biggest part that got the Grizz last night. Do you know how many people were active to play in this game against Brooklyn last night, Landon Schmidt?
I know the roster was, we didn't have that many. I think it was like 8 people total.
8 guys. You just hit it right on the head.
Yeah.
8 players available. 10 that were out. 10. Yeah. So more players out than in.
That's insane.
The insane thing. I'm gonna read this list because I thought it was just funny. The list of why they were out last night. So, Brandon Clark, it just says injury. Scottie Pippen, he did not play last night. You know why? Toe soreness. Toe soreness.
That'll sideline the best of them.
Man, not like turf toe. No other toe soreness.
I don't know if my toe's ever been sore.
I just wonder why they don't say, toenail.
Coach's decision, maybe.
Toenail needs clipping or some
Ingrown
crazy
toenail.
thing.
Ingrown toenail would have been better.
Exactly. Anything would have been better than that. Ty Jerome, right calf injury management.
Got to watch it. Those
Zach Edey,
contusions.
we know, surgery recovery. Okay, that's legit.
Mm-hmm.
Cedric Coward, right knee injury management. John Morant, left elbow UCL sprain. It's amazing. I watched Aaron Bradshaw fall and dislocate his elbow and come back in the game later. Now, granted, he couldn't play.
Right.
Played the next game, did not play really well, and coaches took him out. He didn't opt out.
But at least he tried.
And he's trying. He's playing with a dislocated shoulder. This guy's got a elbow sprain for 6 weeks now. Says it really kind of hurts him or affects him on cross-court passes. Okay, well, take that out of your repertoire.
Yeah.
I mean,
make adjustments.
Lord. Hendricks. I love this. This is another good one. Right thumb soreness. So we got a toe soreness and a thumb soreness. Crazy. Gibson. He is returned to competition reconditioning. So he didn't play. He's not played yet, has he?
I haven't seen him on the court.
Will he play the last 2 weeks? I mean, he's 41 years old.
Well, we've got 8 people, so maybe he fits in somewhere. I don't know.
Santi Aldama, right knee injury management, and of course, surgery recovery for KCP. So that's 10 guys out with anything from surgery recovery, legit, to toe soreness and thumb soreness. And they ran out of gas. I mean, they were literally in the game last night, and then and then basically ran out of gas in the fourth quarter. And you can see why. I think it was like only a 3 to 5 point game in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. Grizzlies had leads in this game. And, and I'll tell you, in the third quarter, they actually came back and evened the numbers up on the boards because they were getting bullied. And then in the end, they got kind of clobbered inside because they don't have any size. But Ryan Repair, he ended up with 20 points and 8 rebounds. I believe that is his season high.
Mm-hmm.
Javon Small started at point guard, had 19.7 assists. Cam Spencer had 8 assists. He did not get a lot of shots. I heard Brevin Knight complaining that he doesn't get enough shots, that his teammates aren't believing in him or giving him the ball.
Yeah.
Don't know what's happening there. I know this much. Clayton, who, when he was at Florida, I thought he would be a decent NBA player. He's so careless with the ball. He had 4 assists last night, but he had 4 turnovers. I watched him just absolutely give the ball away 4 times. Just horrible judgment. And those turned out to be transition second chance points.
Mm-hmm. Not shooting very well either.
Oh, I'm now you got to wonder if the NBA ceiling's a little too high for him.
Might be. I mean, I think his greatest accomplishment this year was tying the rookie assist record this year when he had 14 assists in one of the previous games.
Yeah.
But since then, not really shooting well.
Well, I haven't looked at the overall stats. Check this out for me. Just even with Memphis. But I believe it's part of Doug McDaniel's problem. I believe the really good players always have at least 2-to-1 to 3-to-1 ratios.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a point guard.
Right.
And Doug has about a 2-to-1. It's not quite 2-to-1 if I recall correctly. I wonder, what is Clayton's? How many as a Grizz so far, if you've got the numbers there? How many assists? How many turnovers?
He has 3.8 assists from what I see in his regular season stats.
Okay. That would be all games, including where he came from?
I believe so.
Okay,
that's fine. For this year. And then turnovers, 1.5.
Okay. Well, that's better.
Yeah, better than we expected.
Than I would think.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been that way as a Grizz, but I could be wrong. I haven't watched every minute of every game, but I would say last night seems to be more indicative of his play in a Memphis uniform, where he just does not protect the ball at all. You want unbelievable nights. SGA, Shea Gilgeous Alexander. I'm going to ask Mike DeCourcy because, this is a kid from Canada who ended up going to Kentucky, if he saw this greatness coming. Because I think SGA was the 11th player taken in the draft. He was not the first overall pick by any means. SGA last night had 35 points, 9 rebounds, 15 assists, 0 turnovers. He hit the game winner to beat Denver. Man, there are, between Oak City, Denver, and San Antonio now, there are some rivalry games going on in the Western Conference. So I believe OKC beat Denver earlier this week or late last week in overtime. This is another great game. SGA gets those points that I just told you with the assists. They are significant because that ties Wilt Chamberlain. SGA has now hit 126 straight games that he's had 20 or more points. 126 straight games. Think about that. With 20 or more points. That's not scoring double figures, getting to 10.
Right.
That's 20 or more.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best. 126 straight tied with Wilt. So if he gets 20 or more in the next game, he owns the record. The 35 points, 15 assists, 0 turnovers. That's only happened twice in the history of since they've been taking these statistics. And I want to say it was in the 70s when they started really looking at assists and turnovers and posting them as official. So LeBron James is the only other person that had a 35-point game with 15 assists without a turnover. It's only the second time it ever happened in history. This guy is amazing, and I can't wait. I can't wait for the playoffs. East is going to be great. West could be even better with those 3 teams. East is really interesting now because here comes Tatum to make Boston even better. They've been the surprise of the year without Tatum to do what they did. Mm-hmm. Now they got him. He opens up with a double-double. He doesn't hurt their chemistry. Detroit's going to have their hands full. The Knicks are going to have their hands full. Those three teams, the three I mentioned in the West, must watch TV in a month because that's when the playoffs will begin. NFL news, and then I'll get to the Tigers and their venture. They will leave today. I thought they were leaving yesterday, but they stayed, they practiced, and they will hit the road this afternoon. But in the NFL, two Memphis guys. Kenneth must be a very popular name. Kenny Gainwell yesterday, leaving the Steelers, a 2-year, $14 million deal. He's going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. TJ Reeves will be joining us after the NCAA tournament. We'll get his sense because, you know, he is the sideline reporter for the Tampa Bay Bucks. So Kenny Gainwell gets a new gig, $14 million. I think 10 of that was guaranteed. And then Kenneth Walker. This was a surprise. Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP with Seattle. He's leaving. I can't believe the Seahawks didn't try to keep him. He's going from Seattle to the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes must have a huge smile on his face because Travis Kelce said he's coming back for another year.
Yep.
They're going to have two receivers that they were injured or suspended and everything else last year. They'll be back. And now he's got Kenneth Walker in the backfield, 3-year, $42 million deal. How good are the Chiefs going to be next year? Man, that was impressive. All right, we have a busy show. Mike DeCourcy will join us here in a minute to talk college basketball in general, his bracketology. You know, they got new technology called Prohibet that is, I don't know, I don't really know how it works, but they've put this technology in place to find out if referees in the NCAA competitions, refs and umps, are placing bets. Found that
I mean, it wouldn't be surprising given the news stories that we've had.
And then Jason Munz on the tournament that is coming up, the Tigers' chances. So here's what I kind of think. I think I'm going to be in for a decent stay provided the Tigers win tomorrow night at 6 o'clock against Tulane. If they beat Tulane, and that's kind of a toss-up, although if you look at matchups, if the two bigs, Silla and Bradshaw, play at all, if the point guard, Doug McDaniel, back to ratio, if he had 6 assists in that game, but he had 5 turnovers, 2 in the stretch when they finished to get the game into overtime, when the Tigers had the big lead, they were up 9 with 2.5 to go. If he doesn't have those 2 turnovers, they win the game going away. If Bradshaw and Silla play like they did in New Orleans, and if Doug can cut down on his turnovers, the matchup for Memphis is so good. All you really got to do is stop 2 guys on Tulane, honestly. Williams is a decent player. I don't think he's a great player. Asher Woods is really good, and Brownbaugh's the preseason player of the year, and he's killed the Tigers. But Memphis, on paper, should beat that team. In fact, the bettors said the same thing. They set the line. USF's the big favorite. The Tigers are actually behind UAB, so the bettors would say they're going to beat Tulane. They're going to beat Charlotte. They beat Charlotte by 23 at home. There was no matchup there. And then you would play UAB again. I really think this. I think if Memphis beats Tulane, they will be in the semifinals against USF Saturday. I think that's 2 o'clock, their game. And that's when it will come to an end because USF's better than they are. And the Tigers would be playing their 4th game in 4 days. Mm-hmm. And USF would be completely rested because of the triple buys that the top 2 teams got. So I don't see any chance in that one. But I think if they do beat Tulane, then I'm staying till Saturday. We'll see. We definitely will see. We'll talk about that with Jason Munz in our final segment of the show. This portion of the show brought to you by the Germantown Commissary. You guys know where that is now. 2 places. Germantown Commissary, that is right in that little quaint area of downtown Germantown. Then you've got the commissary in Collierville. I like that place because you know why? They got the buffet. Yeah, they got this buffet where for under $16, you get three proteins. Always pork and chicken in there. You're going to get 5 sides. You get salad. You get a drink, $15.95. That's pretty impressive. Every day, Monday through Friday, at the commissary in Collierville. That's Poplar and Houston Levy. And I should say, last year, they did this barbecue tournament in the commercial appeal. Commissary won. They're doing a burger one right now. I find interesting. But there was no doubt. Everybody said, you want taste, you want texture, you want sauce. The best. The Collierville or Germantown Commissary. Go check it out. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios. A reminder, I was there yesterday. They're going to have this big chemical sale coming up in April. So if you wait a couple of weeks, you can cash in on that. But right now, the floor model spa sale still going on. They're moving stuff out. Any of the display models in stock, hot tubs, swim spas, the cold plunges, all deep discounts. Some they won't even let me tell you about. They're that good. Go see Billy. Go see Lindsay. Tell them we sent you. There could be something special for you if you mention Sports 56 when you go to Family Leisure. We're heading to Pittsburgh in a minute. I think it's Pittsburgh. He may be somewhere else because he's working hard for Fox and for the Sporting News. That's college basketball writer extraordinaire, Mike DeCourcy. He comes your way in just a second.
Let Bryant Dacus and Brett Norsworthy take you home every afternoon. Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekdays from 3 to 6 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Running a business is hard enough, but cleaning a business? Your time's too valuable for that. You need Hilo Commercial Services, dedicated professional cleaners with 15 years of cleaning experience. Hilo customizes your cleaning needs, and you get the JRD guarantee. We clean until you're satisfied. Shopping center, retail spaces, medical, legal offices, Hilo cleans it all. Visit MrCleanTeam.com. That is MrCleanTeam, MrCleanTeam.com for Hilo Commercial Services.
Hi, fellas. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. Christmas and Valentine's Day have come and gone, but you know that at some point you'll need to make your favorite lady happy on her anniversary or her birthday, or just because you want her to know how special and important she is. At Russell Brothers, we've been helping gentlemen for over 5 decades do just that. When a gift-giving occasion arises, we're here to help you. Magnificent diamond rings, beautiful necklaces, shimmering gemstone bracelets. So much to choose from, and the possibilities are endless. At Russell Brothers, you can always know that if you surprise her and she'd rather have something else, we're happy to exchange or refund your money within 30 days. Beauty, value, quality, and service are the things that set Russell Brothers apart from other jewelers. Come see us at Russell Brothers Jewelers, 4646 Poplar. Let us help you say you're the best to that wonderful lady in your life.
Rick's Powder Coating for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Since 1948, in the alley, the Rendezvous. I'm with John Burgos. John, what's going on in the Rendezvous?
Brett, after 76 years, we've decided to expand our product line. Anyone who's tasted our ribs is familiar with our vinegar base. It's now available in a 32-ounce jar. It's so good to base or marinate all meats. I even put a little bit on turnip greens. Something we've been using at the restaurant or at our house has been the Greek seasoning. My father was a cook, but my mother was a chef, and she was the one that put Greek seasoning on everything from a Mediterranean diet or a steak. My mom used it on soup, salad, veggies, fish, any meats. It's a great seasoning and a flavor enhancer. My brother Nick figured out salt and pepper was more than just McCormick's and Morton's. He's come up with a perfect blend we use to coat our shoulders and our brisket, and he used to make it for his friends as Christmas gifts, and they loved it. All these products are available at the Rendezvous or online for shipping as gifts and in many grocery stores. And if they're not in your favorite grocery store, ask your grocer to stock it.
A beloved family affair and still going strong since 1948, the Rendezvous.
Rebel Nation, get the latest on everything Ole Miss sports with the Cannon Motors of Mississippi Rebel Yell Hotline. Join Rebel insiders Chuck Rounsville, Yancey Porter, and Gary Darby Monday nights at 6 as they break down the latest with the Rebels, along with even more insight from special guests. Rebel Yell Hotline, Mondays at 6 p.m. on WHBQ.
Stay up to date with everything going on in Ole Miss athletics with Rebel Yell Hotline every Monday night from 6 to 7 on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Usually we talk with Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News and Facts Bracketology. We do that on Mondays. He's a busy man these days, flying all over the place. Able to join us now. Brought to you by Memphis Tourism and the Memphis Sports Council. Mike DeCourcy. I don't know if you're in Pittsburgh. Are you in Chicago for the Big Ten tournament? Where is Mike DeCourcy? Good morning.
I am at my desk in Pittsburgh. I will not be in Chicago until the semifinals on Saturday. I've got some Fox duties Thursday and Friday for the Big East tournament. Where I'll be talking about the brackets on FS1 and Fox, and then also we have the Atlantic 10 tournament here in Pittsburgh this week, and I will be endeavoring to attend a couple of sessions of that.
Wow,
if possible. So
where's the Big East tournament? It's in New York, right? In Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
So
yes,
what do you
Big East
do?
Would cease to exist if they didn't have the garden.
Yeah. Do you sit at your desk on your computer with a camera in your computer to do those bits, or have they built you a studio? What do they do? How does that work?
I have a camera, like a studio, in my office that is hooked up to L.A., where the headquarters are for Fox. So. And then, and conveniently, because they're owned by the same people, or some portion is owned by the same people, I'm able to do Big Ten Network material from time to time from here as well.
I'm assuming that's a high quality camera with lighting that they put in there for you to make you look good.
Yes, it's hard work, Dave. I'm not sure lighting can do that, but it can make me visible.
I've seen your picture lately. You still look pretty good for that for that old age that you are. I got to ask you this right off the bat. It has really nothing to do with NCAA, but I don't know if you saw what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did last night. He's now had 126 straight games with 20+ points. That ties Will Chamberlain. And so the next time if he does that next game, he breaks the record. He had 35 points, 15 assists, 0 turnovers. That's only happened one other time since they started taking these statistics on assists and turnovers. The only other guy that had a 35-point game with 15 assists and no turnovers, LeBron James. That stuff's just amazing. And when he was at Kentucky for the year, kid comes from Canada. Nobody really, people knew about him from AAU and all that other stuff. But did you see that he would be this great a pro? I think he was the 11th overall pick.
He was. And no, I didn't. This I did not see. I thought he would be a good pro. And so when he left for the NBA, I didn't think that it was a bad choice or anything. I thought he was ready to go. But I certainly did not anticipate this level of achievement. It's a credit to him, and this is something that I talk about from time to time to bring it to college. Is Darren Peterson is an amazing talent, phenomenal talent, and the thing that has to be discovered when you are making the selection at that first overall pick is, okay, first of all, does he have like unbelievable talent? Now, and there have been drafts where that player didn't exist. Certainly. But in this year's draft, you've got a couple of maybe three that really have a chance. And one of the things you have to find out, I talk about this every now and then, is when I was traveling on the summer circuit more and going out to see prospects and that sort of thing, occasionally there would be an intersection with an NBA player here or there. And I remember at LeBron's camp, when he used to do the successor to the Nike All-American camp was the LeBron James Skills Academy, they called it. And they took 100 and some of the best players to Akron and sort of had a camp there and some games and that sort of thing. And I remember during one of the breaks seeing LeBron work out. Now, at that point, he's not LeBron James, billionaire and multi-time NBA champion. He's LeBron James, really, really rich, 23, 24-year-old. But the amount of work he put in was staggering. On a day where he didn't have to be anywhere near a gym if he didn't want to be. He would still be an all-star, and he would still be super rich. But to be what he wanted to be, it required that. And that's what you have to go from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, unbelievably talented kid, to unbelievably superstar pro. That's the difference in the Shays and the LeBrons and the KDs. Another guy that I watched work out one summer on the circuit. Those guys just have another gear. I mean, like you can't get LeBron to stop. KD to stop balling. He's been on like 4 Olympic teams.
Right.
If there's a game that counts, he wants to play.
Yeah.
And if there's a game that doesn't count, he wants to play.
So let me throw out some names here. I think everybody says that Peterson, DeBonsa, and Wilson. They're going to be the top 3. So I'm looking for what?
Before you say that, there are a lot of people that think Boozer is in that conversation as well, and I'm talking about at the NBA level, not just analysts.
Right. Okay. So I was going to I'm going to throw him in there, but I was going to throw him in as later because remember, and I'm not saying he's going 11, but SGA was the 11th overall pick. So we got guys like Boozer who will go higher. I'm going to throw in Acuff. I'm going to throw in Flemings, the kid from Houston.
Right.
I'll throw in the kid from Illinois. I think his name is Wagner.
Wagner.
I'll throw in a guy who's injured now, who I think was the highest paid player. I don't ever see him up as high as most draft picks would be, like these other names. Toppin from Texas Tech. Which one of these guys do you think could emerge to be that superstar that's not those first 3 guys?
Oh, I think that there are a lot of them that could. And, like over at Tennessee, I know we have Vols fans listening. Nate Ament is tremendous talent. And, again, what will separate him to be one of those guys is that extra gear to work at it. But 6'10", 6'11", super skilled with the ball, terrific shooter. Just he's huge for his position, which is basically small forward at the NBA level. I think that he's got great ability and could be fantastic. Acuff is really special. Thomas Houck from Florida is a guy that doesn't get talked about a lot, but is really skilled, really talented, has had a great year, has made huge shots in last year's run to the championship. And a guy that probably doesn't get talked about a lot because of his age is the Axel Lendeborg, who they want to not take him as high because he's older, so he doesn't have as much upside. And, okay, you might not get as many years out of him, but that I don't really understand why that matters because, are you really drafting for what the player's going to be like when he's 32? No, you're drafting him for what he's going to be like when he's 23 or 24 and 26 and 27. And if he's still as great at 32, man, you hit the lottery. But Yaxel is not a finished product by any stretch. He is probably the most dynamic player in the draft. All that testing stuff, if you want to combine strength and agility, I don't know how they test that, the combination, but he's going to do well in the agility stuff, and he's going to do well in the strength stuff. He'll do those reps that KD struggled with back in 2007.
Right.
He'll do plenty. He's a really physically powerful young man, and I see little things in his game because you guys saw him when he was at UAB. He was basically a center.
I've seen him live probably 10 games with tournaments and stuff, and I got to be honest with you, I haven't seen him live this year. I've seen him on TV. He's got a good supporting cast, obviously, that Dusty May has put together. And maybe Dusty May is a great developer of talent. Look what he did with that kid Golden. But in all honesty, the Tigers beat the heck out of him because Dane Danger owned him. So I think he must be a lot better. And he was a good player for UAB against us. But he when he was up against a big, strong dude, he struggled.
But he's not that player any longer because they don't use him that way.
Right.
That was the problem, was that he was basically a center at
UAB.
UAB. I keep wanting to say BYU. UAB, and at Michigan, he's a small forward, and he showed that he can play that position at the NBA level, or you could use him as kind of a stretch four. He doesn't have to guard Dane Danger in the NBA or Jokic or whoever. He can guard. First of all, he can guard any player on the floor. I've never seen a guy with his size that can switch on to a point guard and not only hang on for dear life, but like own the matchup. He can play. He can guard in the post. I mean, he's not going to be as good as you mentioned with Dane, but he can hold his own. He can handle it if he gets switched into the post, or if they go smaller and play him at power forward or center. He's got unbelievable talent, but he's not a developed player because he's only been this player for 4 months, 6 months. He's a wing, and he's not a center at the NBA level. And I see little things in his game that still could be improved: positioning, awareness, because he's never guarded on the perimeter before. And so he doesn't have that feel for, okay, I got to be here so that I can shut off that drive and still get back to my man. There's still some little things that he can do better, but he's been a phenomenal player for Michigan this season.
I think Dusty May's done a heck of a job with developing guys, too. I give him some credit in all of that, which gets me, because Dusty May came up through the ranks. There was a rip job done this week by one of your national colleagues, Jeff Goodman, basically talking about NBA players who didn't pay their dues and became head coaches, and really negative stuff on Penny. What were your thoughts on the Jeff Goodman article?
Well, it's interesting because I wrote an article like that 7 years ago, I think. It was a 2019 Final Four, and there's a lot of data to support that. The concept that if you are in the NBA and even if you coached in the NBA, or you were a former player who just, okay, all of a sudden they gave you the head coaching job because you were famous and you were in basketball and you had the background of having played at a high level and won at a high level. Clyde Drexler being an example of that at Houston.
Yeah, he was a bad coach. I watched that firsthand. He was very good.
There's an incredibly high failure rate in that category. Like I said, it's not just NBA players. Like Bob Hill was a really fine coach with the San Antonio Spurs and some other teams in the NBA. He went to Fordham and he was a disaster. I mean, he had I think he won 3 games one year. And so there are a lot of things that happen in the college game, and this is probably less true now than it was when I wrote the article in 2019, because now players move for money and that sort of thing. So it is a little bit more aligned with the NBA game than it was then. But Penny had no business in that list. No business. I mean, Penny has won 20 games, 7 of 8 years. It just boggles my mind. But he's only made 3 NCAA tournaments. Like, okay, so John Calipari, after 4 years at Memphis, how many had he made? He made 2, because they were building. And so Penny's not allowed to build, but everybody else is? That doesn't seem fair. And while he's building, he gets 20 wins and wins the NIT? That seems like you should be allowed to do that as you're building a program.
Look at the Hall of Famers he's beaten, too. A lot of them.
You build the program up, and then they in 2023, they beat Houston, I believe, in the American Championship to get the automatic bid, if I remember correctly.
Yep, they were number 1.
And then last year, they won both league championships, won 29 games. And, it's interesting to me how some coaches, when guys get hurt, and I'm not talking about like down for a game, but like guys are gone, the guy's gone. I mean, the team couldn't play the same, and that didn't work, and so they lost. And with Penny, it's, so what? Okay, you lost your starting point guard. You had to play your All-American shooting guard out of position, and then it didn't work against a really good team that nearly eliminated Maryland, a stacked Maryland team from the tournament last year that was coached by a really terrific coach in Niko Medved. So you lose that game, and now you're a failure? Come on. Look, for the very reason that Jeff cited, I was not enamored of the Penny hire because I knew the history. But he has, in his case, he has rewritten that history. Now, there's still other guys out there that got jobs under the same circumstance or similar circumstances and haven't been successful. Jeff's list wasn't wrong in concept, but Penny had no business, zero business, being on that list. Look, this year was bad, or is bad. It's naughty. This year, and it can't be repeated. And he has to learn from what mistakes were made to get the Tigers into this position. But the idea that he's not done a good job at Memphis, with everything that's happened to the program and everything that's happened to college sports in the time he's been there, the entire league detached itself, all the upper echelon teams detached themselves, and Memphis, an elite program that should be in one of those leagues, isn't, and you have to manage that, and we're just going to ignore that too. That's not reality. His reality is success. The reality of 25-26 is struggle, but it's not a failure until it gets repeated.
All right, we got 2 minutes, unfortunately. But I got to ask you about the article you wrote. It's the tournament, so we got to do that. And that is not punishing teams who lose key players. And I know this goes back to you and I both watching this with Cincinnati and Kenyon Martin, who ended up, I think it was breaking his leg at the old Pyramid. Yeah. Bob Huggins, I'll never forget the look on his face. I'll never forget the stare by Martin underneath the stanchion, and they became a 2 seed instead of a 1.
And what I was writing about was that the idea that player availability should influence seeding, I think, is a mistake. And I called that the original sin when they did that to Cincinnati, because you can't adequately judge what a team will be when they lose a player of great consequence. And that year not only provided the Kenyon example, where they had no opportunity to judge that Cincinnati team. They had 30 minutes of shell-shocked basketball, basically, and no chance to prepare. Okay, we got no Kenyon. What do we do to win? They never had to worry about that because he was always there. So they spent the next couple of weeks, and then they ended up beating Wilmington, and then they lost to an underseeded. That was another mistake that committee made. That was an all-time bad committee. There was another mistake they made, was that they seeded Bill Self's Tulsa team 7th when they'd won 29 or 30 games.
Right.
And Tulsa wound up going all the way, I believe, to the Elite Eight. So in that sense, you can't really have an opportunity to judge that team. But okay, so now we have time to judge BYU without Richie Saunders or Texas Tech without JT Toppin. But how do we judge them? They're playing really high-level, difficult games because they were scheduled into those because they were expected to be good, and TV wanted to see them on TV in the big games after the Super Bowl's over. So some of them are playing not great or losing a game here or there. In the case of Texas Tech, I think they're 3-2. I think BYU's 2-4, but 2 really good wins in those 2. But then you look at Purdue, doesn't have any player availability issues at all.
I know.
And I think they've lost 4 out of their last 6. So why would you judge them on that basis? I think that you should simply say, okay, your metrics are this, your quad records are this, these are your big wins, these are your bad losses, you're a 6. And that's it. And not, okay, yeah, but Richie Saunders is gone, so you're a 7. No, that's just not the way it ought to be. It was a mistake they made 26 years ago, and they should go back and rewrite their rules, their procedures, and say, we're not doing that anymore. From now on, you are what your numbers and your performance says you are, not, okay, well, we kind of think you might not be as good because you lost this guy, so we're going to knock you down a seed.
Don't repeat bad history. I'm with you. Mike DeCourcy, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Dave.
That's our man from the Sporting News, Mike DeCourcy, brought to you by Memphis Tourism and the Shelby County Sports Council. You know, tourism's big business, about $4 billion a year in our community, over $100 million local tax collections alone. It grows every year. The tourism and hospitality industry is vital to ensuring the continued growth and success of our local economy. Memphis Tourism and the Memphis Sports Council, that's a winning combination, working year-round to bring visitors and sporting events to our community, and they bring you Mike DeCourcy every week. Jason Munn comes your way right here in just a second on the AAC Tourney and the Tigers.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at codesdispensary.com. That's codesdispensary.com.
When you want your favorite drink without the big box hassle, you need City Center Liquor in Lakeland, your locally owned shop for wine, spirits, beer, and all your tobacco needs. With a friendly staff that knows their stuff, you'll get great recommendations, fast service, and the hometown feel you love. So whether you're stocking up for the weekend or on the hunt for something new to try, City Center Liquor has you covered. City Center Liquor, 9774 Shady Village Lane, just off Highway 70 in Lakeland. Local, friendly, and always fully stocked. For a 5% discount, tell them Sports 56 sent you.
Let me paint a picture. It's midnight. Sirens blare. You have only seconds to grab your child and run. Now imagine you're elderly. Your legs don't work like they used to. Getting downstairs feels impossible. And after all of that, you end up in a bomb shelter for hours, even days, because you can't make that trek again.
This is what's happening across Israel as Operation Epic Fury continues. Children are being traumatized. Families are exhausted. Homes have been destroyed. That's why the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is there on the ground, bringing food, emergency equipment, care for children, and help for the elderly. They're also supplying bomb shelters and medical centers with critically needed essentials.
If you've ever wondered what it looks like to stand for Israel and stand for good against evil, this is it. Please act now. Give $45 right now to rush life-saving essentials to the vulnerable under fire. Call 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-IFCJ, or go online at ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org.
Memphis is a love song to soul and style. With the full suite of sought-after designers, brilliant natural diamonds, an elegant bar, luxury VIP lounge, and more, a trip to our store is an experience like no other. Just like the city we love. Stop by any of our stores or visit sissyslogcabin.com and experience Sissy's for yourself. Memphis is our home, and we're your jeweler.
Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We have breaking news. According to Matt Norlander, there's going to be a new challenge, A10 and the American, starting next year. And Memphis will play Dayton next season. Another unbelievable non-conference matchup. Thanks to Greg Gaston for letting me know about that particular matchup. We bring in Jason Munns, the beat writer from the Commercial Appeal on the Tigers, the award-winning beat writer. Congratulations. The AP sports editors, again, have put you, at least for the moment, in the top 10. I'm sure you're going to win, either in the breaking news category or the projects category. So congratulations to you on that. And what do you think about that new A10 AAC deal?
Thank you, Wolo. I appreciate the kudos. Yeah, speaking of breaking news, I think it's great, and it's not just. It's like it's a multi-year, multi-team deal. So you've got Memphis and Dayton on November 29th, and you've also got South Florida and St. Louis on November 29th.
Oh, I would have liked St. Louis over Dayton, to be honest.
Kind of, yeah, kind of. I mean, but listen, Dayton has played. Dayton has won 20 or more games each of the last 5 seasons. Obviously, a quality program. Anthony Grant's a great coach. They last met, if you'll recall, in Denton, Texas, if I'm not mistaken, at the NIT in the first round of the NIT back in the COVID season. Yeah. And Memphis won that game. They've met 20 times in their history, because also, if I'm not mistaken, Memphis and Dayton used to be conference mates. Once upon a time.
Yes,
I believe that's right.
Yes, for a short period of time. I don't know if it was in the Great Midwest. It might have been the Great Midwest.
Yeah, or maybe
it's
I don't know,
either
Conference
CUS.
USA.
It was either CUSA or Great Midwest, but I think it was Great Midwest.
Yeah, so they're gonna play those 2 games on November 29th. The site has not yet been announced, although it's obviously going to be a neutral site. And so we'll wait to find out when that is. But yeah, like this schedule, like Penny,
wow.
So here's what we know so far.
Yeah, I was just going to go because I know Dayton, Louisville. I'm pretty sure Vandy, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. Who am I missing?
Ole Miss and Mississippi State are not on the schedule this year.
Oh.
Yeah, those deals have expired, and as far as my understanding is, they are trying with Mississippi State, but they're definitely not going to play Ole Miss. They're trying to re-up with Mississippi State. Don't know if that's going to actually happen or not. But so here's what we got. We got Louisville. Memphis has Louisville at home, Utah State at home, Dayton on a neutral floor. Then you've got at Texas, at Baylor, and at Vanderbilt. So that is, 7 games? Is that 7 or 6?
At Texas, at Baylor.
That is 6 games.
And so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Dayton, Louisville, Vandy, Utah State, at Texas, at Baylor.
Yeah. So my gut tells me that there will be more high-profile power conference games added to this schedule.
Wow.
As well as the requisite, 3, 2, 3, whatever it is, bye games for Memphis. So. Yeah, it's going to be another banger.
All right, headed to Birmingham today. You're heading tomorrow as usual, game day.
That's
you
right.
picked the Tigers over Tulane, which, here's what I think. I've already said this at the beginning of the show. If they beat Tulane, and I think that's a toss-up game, even though I think if Memphis gets any kind of play from Bradshaw and Silla and Doug doesn't turn the ball over, they should win. The matchup says they should win, in my estimation. The odds makers say they should win, too. Then I think they will get to the semifinal game and lose to USF on Saturday. How far do you think they will go, since you've already picked them by a mere single point to beat Tulane?
I think what you said is like that's how I see it playing out as well. I'd like to sit here and say momentum's a powerful thing, and Memphis got a pretty good dose of it on Sunday in New Orleans. Like that's when you snap a losing streak that long and you do it the way you did it, when you scored 96 points on the road in overtime, where there were obviously multiple opportunities for Memphis to just sort of lay down. You had the 9-point deficit at halftime, which they've now overcome only 2 this season, where they've been trailing at halftime, and the other one, they were only down by 1 point, and it was at Rice. So, anyway.
2-17.
2-17. But this was a 9-point deficit as opposed to a 1-point deficit against 2 teams that are, not quite exactly in the same class. But, so they could have laid down at halftime. They could have laid down when they blew the 9-point lead at the end of regulation. They could have laid down when they went down by 6 with under 3 minutes to go in the game, but they didn't. They kept fighting. They stayed in the battle, and they won. And that's, like I said, that's a lot of momentum that comes along with all of that, in my opinion. But this team has showed time and time again that normal rules don't necessarily apply to it. That's why I got them winning by 1. Only 1. So, that being said, I think that obviously that means that they would then face, 24 hours later, they would face Charlotte, a team they beat by 23 points on their home floor.
Yeah, I mean, they should win that game, because I don't think that team can match up at all.
Yeah, that's the most fraudulent 5 seed I've seen in a long time. And then
UAB by odds makers, by the way, they've got UAB as the number 4 favorite, Memphis as the 5 in the betting. So by those odds, you would have to say UAB would be the favorite at this point. And believe it or not, they don't play a game until then, and Memphis will be playing a 3rd game in 3 days.
And see, that's where I think momentum also comes into the equation. You've got Memphis, good and warmed up. They will, if they get to that point, they will have won 3 games in a row. And again, their juices are flowing, and UAB's may not be. UAB, while they'll be technically quote unquote fresh coming into that game, we've seen it a ton of times, more times than we can count, where the team that has played some games, got some games under its belt, gotten some game looks at the basket, at the sight lines and stuff in that arena, where UAB has not. It could, that sort of thing happens all the time, and that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. Also,
okay.
Well, no, I was just going to say also, I think UAB is a good matchup for Memphis, even though they did lose to UAB at home. That was during the doldrums of the 7-game losing streak. And,
I'm with you.
You kind of write that off a little bit.
I do think there's a couple of caveats here. I think Parker's ankle's got to allow him to play at least at 85-90%. I think Davis, who's found some energy here at the end, his calf has to be cooperative. And I think Thetford's got to play, and he's got a balky knee. So those 3 guys are really important. I at this point, I guess Ashton Hardaway probably is a no-go. I don't know that for a fact, but he's missed the last, 4 games now?
Yeah, he's been out for a little while with a calf injury. Don't forget Bradshaw's elbow when you're talking about guys with dings and whatever else. Bradshaw's a little bit more than a ding, but yeah, it's that would be the one thing, if you ask me, more so than the having to play so much in such a short period of time, is the injuries.
That's why you need them all.
Yeah.
Right,
so
real quick,
we'll
we got 30-40 seconds. Tell me, we both agree South Florida beats Memphis. They're in the championship game. Who is the team they face, and who wins it?
I'm going to say they're going to wind up playing Wichita, and I think, oh man, I really like Kenyon Giles. He would have got, if I had a vote in the American Conference Player of the Year race, I would have voted Kenyon Giles. But,
really? Over Isaiah Nelson?
Yes, most definitely. If you take Isaiah Nelson away from South Florida, they're still a really good team. If you take Kenyon Giles away from Wichita, they're not anywhere close to a 2 seed. So, but that being said, South Florida is still the better team than Wichita, and I think they win the whole thing.
Who'd be your coach of the year?
Paul
Mills then, or Eric Conkle at Tulsa?
I mean, well, you know what? That's a good point. Eric Conkle, I think, has probably done the best job from a coaching standpoint, taking everything into consideration. Yeah, I'd have to give it to Eric.
Interesting. As always, we appreciate you. We'll see you in Birmingham. We'll talk again next Tuesday.
Sounds good. Thanks.
That's our man, Jason Munns from the Commercial Appeal. He's brought to you by Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. Ken knows you're making a major decision. You're building that dream home. Don't worry. He's with you 24/7. He's going to walk you through every little procedure that you have. And know this, whether you're building that dream home or maybe you're getting a renovation, you don't want to leave your lot. You love your location. You love where you are. You want the modern amenities. He's the best at renovation with innovation. But here's what he tells you. It's never done. That job is never done. If it's 6 months later and something's not correct, he's going to come over there and see what's wrong and make sure it's absolutely perfect. He says it in his own commercial when you listen. He knows. He and his son, 3rd generation, Williams in the business. You don't stick around for 3 generations, 70, 80 years in a business unless you're doing everything right, and they do. If you're building or you're renovating, there's only one place to go. Ken Garland, Custom Home Builders. We'll talk to you from Birmingham tomorrow. It's all Landon Schmidt. Dennis Philippi will be here. He's figuring out the rest. And then we'll chat later in this week. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great day, everybody.